Whenever you go to a doctor, I just want to do something. So if I don't do anything, that's the American thing. Fix it, do it. Actually, if you leave it alone, every disease, mark my words, every disease, from common cold to cancer, will either cure itself or kill you. One of the two things. And doctor's intervention only hastens that, but doesn't do anything else. No doctor can take you, as the common newspaper says, he was pulled from the jaws of death by a doctor. It's bullshit. Nobody can pull you anything from the jaws of death. If you're dying, you're going to die. And doctors can only help. And Hippocrates said, our father of modern medicine said, cure rarely, comma, comfort mostly, comma, but console always. You should be able to console. But what do we do today? The reverse. The minute you go there, it says, oh my God, you got a cancer. You may live only for 6 months. How on earth does that doctor know that you will live for 6 months? Because we doctors cannot predict the future of our patients. Nobody knows, nobody can predict the future, including the astrologers. Because the future doesn't exist in quantum physics. Tomorrow is not born. Tomorrow is yet to be born. How do you know what happens tomorrow? You don't know whether tomorrow is going to happen at all. So future predictions are not possible. There's a beautiful study in the British Medical Journal called Doctors Predicting the Unpredictable Future of Their Patients. You go to a doctor and say, doctor, I have a fever. I have a lecture in Somaya College tomorrow. It must come down tomorrow. He said, don't worry. Take these tablets 3 times a day and your fever will go. Doctor doesn't know what your fever is due to. Doctor doesn't know what the tablet does. Doctor doesn't know whether you will go to Somaya College or not. But he'll predict it so. But that prediction itself is not based on science. It's based on hearsay. Because science can never predict. You see the weather predictions. Have you seen the weather prediction in Bombay yesterday? It's going to rain today. It's raining outside, isn't it? It won't rain. Predicting the unpredictable future is what we all do. So then the education must not just aim at a healthy, sort of wealthy career. Of course, wealthy career is a must, which will come. A wealthy career will come if you are a good human being, irrespective of where you are and what you are. Because money, you don't have to go after money. Money will come after you when you are a good human being. So you don't have to worry about that. But you must train yourself to have a healthy mind. Remember that. The mind must be trained first to be a healthy mind. And that's why I like, see, for example, I saw you are saying somewhere, knowledge is power. This is what the British said. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. Wisdom is power. Knowledge is some information. You can get knowledge. Knowledge is second hand. I have so much of knowledge. Goethe said, I now know physiology, philosophy, jurisprudence, even as theology from end to end with labor skin. But here I stand, O fool, with all my lore, no wiser than before. Whether you become wiser or not is a question. Knowledge accumulates, but wisdom comes. Knowledge dwells in heads replete with thoughts of other men. He said, I have read so many books. So many people are very proud of having read so many books. I will say I have never read any books. I have thought, right from my younger days, I used to think. Anything that comes to my mind, I used to think about it, dissect it, study it, and try to understand and get something comes out of my mind. And wisdom dwells in heads attentive to their own. Knowledge and wisdom, far from being one, have nothing in common, said the poet. Because knowledge is something which comes and goes. Wisdom is something which lingers. And wisdom is your own. And that's your generation. That's why I ask students, ask questions. And I always say, if a teacher in the class cannot answer all the questions, she or he is an evolved teacher. I would love a teacher when once he or she says, I don't know. Because when you come to the stage to say, I don't know, you are a wise man. When you say, I know everything, you are an idiot. Because you know nothing. But wisdom comes and wisdom lingers. And wisdom is very important. I always say, educational institutions must have the dictum, wisdom is power, not knowledge is not power. Wisdom is power. And wisdom must be something that we must develop. And wisdom comes from your own head, your own mind, and that must be encouraged. And that's exactly the future aim of education. Now, unfortunately, what happens today? Our educational standard is so low. Our education is only for higher education. And the whole country is corrupt. You take any area, who is not corrupt, tell me? How can you be corrupt if you had a good education? If you had a good education and you say, I must work very hard and I must be compassionate, how can you be corrupt? When once you say, I must make more money than the other person, this comparison, because it starts in the school. That's why he said, when you go to school, you become an idiot. What is that first say? Say he is first rank, second rank. What is first rank, second rank? Comparing with others. Competing with others is mediocrity. Competing with yourself is excellence. So you teach a child to compete with itself. It must be a better child tomorrow than what it is today. Not that it is better than another child. That is very bad. When the child goes home, the mother says, "You're first rank, bash." The second child goes home and says, "Why didn't you see? Look at that Sami Somaya's child is first rank. You are second rank, you are no good." The child becomes no good after that. Never tell a child you are no good, because it's only positive thoughts must be put into the child, and then only the child will grow. So what is important is you must always encourage. I always tell in educational institutions, a child must get a medal if he or she has improved from 35% mark when he came in to 75 marks. Not 77% compared to another 76%. That's not so good. That is mediocrity. We are encouraging mediocrity in our educational system. We should encourage excellence. Make every child compete with itself. And once you compete with yourself, no negative thoughts. When I compete with others, now a lot of negative thoughts. All the negative thoughts enter once you go to school. Till that time, the child was very, very happy. And as a matter of fact, you can make out from a child's heart. Child's heart is very, very healthy. It takes breaths. When the child breathes in, the heart goes fast. When the child breathes out, it goes slow. This is called heart rate variability. In other words, the heart rate is connected to the mind. When the child breathes in, heart goes faster. When the child breathes out, heart goes slower. As you grow older and start getting all the negative thoughts and start hating people, etc., then this variability goes. And you reach a stage where the heart is never variable. It's the same when you breathe in or breathe out. Your death is very close. So you are becoming more and more of a inhuman human being as you grow. Education must make you a human being, not inhuman human being. And we have to change our educational system in such a way that we should see that educational system itself inculcates self-competition, competition with oneself. Supposing I compete with myself and try to be a better human being tomorrow than what I am today, who do I hate? I don't have to hate nobody. So that's where healthy mind comes, and healthy mind comes with self-competition. Without competition, you will die. You must have competition, but not competing with others. Trying to say, I am a best teacher in the college. No, I am a better teacher today than what I was yesterday. That should be the ideal way to look at. And that's called making a healthy mind. And this is why I always say, education must aim at making a healthy mind, not just a wealthy career. And this is the idea of talking to you today, because I thought you're all educationists, either teachers or educational institution owners. And today, of course, education is one who amasses wealth by the bad means and then starts an educational institution. He's called an educationist. And immediately he gets a honorary doctorate and he calls himself a doctor. And this honorary doctorate doesn't mean anything. Today I'm told you can buy a honorary doctorate also by paying money to some universities. Not all. Some governors are looking for money so that they have so many universities under them. They'll say, you give me 2 crores, I'll get you an honorary doctorate from A university or B university. Because recently one of the vice chancellors of Mangalore University, who was an old student of mine, called me and said, sir, I am having trouble, sir. I said, what? Our governor has taken money from some really bad people and wants me to give them an honorary doctorate. And I am troubled. I said, get lost. Leave your job and go. Why do you want to hang on there? You know, if you want to hang on to the system like that, you have to be a part of it. If you don't want, you get out. The best way is to get out and get going. And this is unfortunate. And this is where education has come to. In short, education has come to making money. Either making money or trying to make money for others. Some of you may not be corrupt, but you make others corrupt under your tutelage. So all that should stop when a mind develops into a higher level. And when the mind develops into a higher level, you become a human being. And that's where our educational system was.